Welcome back, everybody. Creating Balance with Jan and Lori. I'm Lori Lamont, and we have with us Janet Hamning. And we are, I hope you've already watched part one. If you haven't, stop, go back to part one because Janet here has been sharing with us her amazing story, which I have to say has brought on so many emotions for me. I'm over here tapping under the table, just because it's so moving um, and so inspiring. And so
it's
where
like
we
a true life story. It's a true life story.
It is, and we really want to inspire people and let them see that there is absolute hope. And Janet, you were in the middle of sharing about your liver, and you were at that point where you were starting to get cocky and just doing some of the pieces, but maybe not fully feeling it, is what I was getting. And so I'd love for you to continue on with your story and maybe let us know. I'm just gonna
what you do with your liver.
Yeah, what happened? So we're all dying to know what happened.
I won't know until next week because that's my next blood draw. But the doctor had called and said that the liver count was back up, and she's like, "What did you stop doing that you had been doing that was helping your liver?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing this stuff on the liver. You can't see it, but I'm just tapping myself. I'm like, I'm doing this stuff." But then I thought to myself, "You're just doing it as a exercise routine. I have to do 20 sit-ups a day. I'll do 20 sit-ups, it's just one of those things." And I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't saying to myself, I want my liver to heal. I want to be strong. I'm supporting myself. I'm protecting my house. I wasn't doing any of that, which I had been doing initially, which I was, so embraced in it. And it's funny because like my daughters, before, when it was my liver was doing well, they'd be like, "Why do you keep groping yourself?" So I'm not groping myself. I'm massaging my liver points. I'm tapping. I'm moving the energy. And I stopped doing all that. I was just like, okay, it worked. Now that's all I have to do. Kind of like when you lose 20 pounds and you're like, hey, I could go back to eating cake. No, you really can't.
Right.
So I go to the doctor's on Tuesday, and that'll be the next blood draw. But I have been much more reflective, much more thoughtful in my energy work. And
Yeah, and that brings up a point, Janet. Now that it kind of cues me into that question I wanted to ask you. At one point when we were working together, regularly, and I had asked you, one of your homework assignments was, Janet, I want you to write down reasons, and as things come to your mind, no hurry, this could take 6 months as a homework assignment. I want you to write down, why do you really want to live? And give a reason, really go deep into your soul, into your heart, into your gut. Why do you really want to live? Can you hear me still? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear Janet.
No, maybe something happened with your headset. Here, I'm gonna.
With your headset, that's okay.
We're back.
All right, so
just a little technical difficulty.
Okay.
So, yeah, so just like talk about that, because you're like, well, I got 2 kids and I got this to do and I got that to do. I'm like, no, really go deep within, and why do you want to live? So if you could like talk about that, not that you have to give us your list of things, but what did that bring up for you?
So it's funny because it did not bring up my kids, because they're adults. And I'm an adult child of parents as well. So not that you let them go, but you let them go. And so what is it I want out of my life? Why do I want to live? And I thought about that a lot, and I walk every day. So I love to see the wind blowing, the radiation of joy with the birds pulling the sunflower seeds out of my garden. Just that tactile life is is taking a bite out of life and really embracing new people, old people, embracing I'm going to try to get as much out of my life as I can to bring joy to myself, which if I'm joyful, then I can share my joy. And it's funny, I really feel like my life turned around in 2018 when I met Jan and started tapping, because I was able to let the ghost go. And my my name when I was a child and in my early 20s and 30s, everybody called me Janny. Nobody called me Janet. And so I've been Janet for like the last 15 years. And so it's like bringing Janny back, that person who's vibrating with life. And so it sounds terrible. I don't want to save the world. I just want to save Janny. And I'm so much more open and honest and genuine in all aspects of my life, with my manager at work, with my father who's 90 years old, and with my daughters, with everybody. And with the whole social injustice stuff going on and people saying something to me that I'm like, that is wrong, and not being afraid anymore. So me with Jan and the tapping and getting back connected to myself, I have a great life. And don't get me wrong, it's not all peaches and roses, and this all sorts of things happen. And I had a leak in the basement yesterday that the plumber was $250. But at the same time, he fixed it. I write the check. I'm so happy that my sink is working. I'm not thinking, oh, this is killing me. I'm just happy, and we'll see how things go on Tuesday. I'm doing the best I can, but God, I really do just love my life. I love my life.
Yeah, and it's really great because that gratitude, expression of gratitude for every little thing, that those people out there, all those people that us energy people follow, they always say gratitude is so important.
Right.
Expressing gratitude, have a gratitude list every day of what the little things, like my dog licked my hand, or little things that you saw a hummingbird fly to the feeder. Just that little bit helps us get through our days when we're going through some tough times.
Absolutely. And even when it's the best day ever, and you're right, and I have a dog who's 17 years old who's, on her last days. And she looks at me and she'll lick my hand, and I'm like, I've got you, you've got me. You know what I mean? It's those moments, and it is the little moments. I'm never going to win the lottery because I don't play it, but you know what I mean? So it's not like, oh, I won $1 million. It's all those moments that come together that I sleep peacefully. I wake up feeling well. And even, when things aren't going well or physically I'm just down, I'm just able to keep moving.
What I have a few people who are popping into my mind right now that really need to see this and to hear your message. What do you have anything in particular you'd like to tell anyone who is dealing with a diagnosis, who's being faced with something like this, and having experienced it and having lived as that ghost at first, and then really becoming, it seems like you had a complete shift in your way of perceiving your life. And so I don't know, do you have anything you'd like to say to anyone who's
who's going through a stage or anything that is traumatic?
Yeah, I would definitely say to be open to what's being offered to you and to what's around in your life. And so Jan making that offer, and my first thought was like, no thanks. That's just going to be an inconvenience for me. But then realizing that's a gift. And it's funny because she had posed it with, it's a free, she was offering me a free service for a year to give back to Mother Earth. And it's funny, when she said Mother Earth, I was like, I believe in Mother Earth. I believe in that. And so for whatever moment that was, that I was able to let myself open up and try something new and embrace things. And I don't do all the energy things that Jan and I discussed or that I've read about. Some of them I really feel connected with, and some of them I don't. But I would say be open. I regret that I didn't join a support group at the time. I think the support group would have been very good for me. I'm in one now. But it took me a year to realize I actually had cancer because I just never believed it. And if I didn't embrace it, shoot, I think I lost everybody. Did I?
We can hear you, but your
Okay.
screen is
Yeah.
frozen.
So I really felt that I could just open up again, and it has felt terrific in my life to get back to that daily joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know recently you and you actually came in person for a session. We had our masks on and we were 6 feet apart tapping, but you insisted on coming back in person that time. And I think one of the things we were talking about and suggestions besides getting back into nurturing your liver, and you know, we when we were energy testing you, because we practice Eden energy medicine with you also besides EFT, and we actually go through a lot of different things, but we've realized that part of your liver and because even though you have no spleen, you still have the spleen energy in your body. The energy is still there, as you and I have tried to talk about, and we test it. And you know, it was a lot of it. You were so worried about your daughter moving out of state, and you were spending so much time helping her move, that you were neglecting your spleen. And our spleen is our mother organ, and it's the worry organ, and it's the compassion organ, and it's the, you know, when we overdo it and we stop taking care of ourselves.
Right.
And you were so concerned with your daughter moving and making sure she was settled and making sure she was happy. And that's when your spleen energy started to go down too, when we were testing you.
Well, and it was kind of funny because my daughter has been a handful her whole life from day one. And she's 6'3", so she's a large presence in many ways. And I got to tell you, I was so glad she was moving, but I felt such terrible guilt. And when we were tapping, that came out, and I said, "I feels like I'm a terrible mom, but it's so time for her to go." And so I'm worried about her being successful and working, but at the same time, I'm feeling guilt because I'm like, I'm so glad you're leaving. It takes so much off of my plate. And you're right. So there's just all these swirls of emotion that the tapping brought it out.
Yeah,
I
we had
hadn't
a lot of stuff come out.
yeah, I hadn't been able to figure out why what I was feeling until that all came out.
Yeah, and then one of the things that we had talked about too was to create your sacred space. Create your sacred space in your home, or you in your yard, for instance, because you love to be outside in your yard. And so we talked about, and everybody should have a sacred space for themselves to go to. Right, Janet? I mean, like yours is out in your yard. You had said you were making like your little area in your yard where you could sit.
Right. I have a seating area out there. I have 5 chairs, but one chair is my chair. It's a special, really comfy chair. I've got a little table next to it. I've got the umbrella. I face the garden, so I don't see anything behind me. And it is my spot. And it's funny because like people come over and they'll sit in the chair. And I'm thinking, that's my chair. But I let them sit there. And then I'm working on one inside the house as well. So that's really nice. And it's actually kind of exciting because, you know, I always think of it like a bird building a nest. I'm building that nest that I'm going to be able to sit and read a book, do whatever I want. And it'll just be my spot, not connected to the office or the kitchen or family stuff, just for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. You've got a great story, and you're such an inspiration for all these other people going through something traumatic in their life, whether it's health related, family related, whatever it is. You're just an inspiration. And I'm telling you, it's been an absolute honor and joy to work with you for the past couple of years. It was the best move I ever made, was to reach out to you and offer you one of my mentee positions that I tend to take 2 mentees on at a time for a year. And there are rules they have to abide by, more or less. But I knew deep down you were so hungry to heal and so hungry to live that I knew you would be willing to do the work. And it's been an absolute honor to have you as, you know, I talk about you all the time to my other clients because you are so committed and so open to anything. And you're right. A lot of things I would suggest and you're like, yeah, that didn't resonate with me. I'm like, fine, don't do it. And, you know, but some of the things that you did find, you're great at all your energy work. You trace she taught herself how to trace her own meridians on a YouTube video I had recommended. And she did it enough where she's tracing all her meridians on her own.
Every day, every morning when I get out of bed.
So you're very motivated to learn and to help yourself.
Right. And you reaching out to me was a priceless gift that I cannot repay. But it certainly, it has absolutely changed my life. And it's funny because I'll hear people talk about how cancer changed their life to open them up to things. Cancer didn't change my life in terrible ways, but it was the EFT and the energy work that actually changed my life.
Yeah, how about it?
Well, on that note, just want to say thank you so much to you, Janet, for being willing to open yourself and share yourself with really the world of all these women who are going to be able to look to you and to see that there are so many hopeful possibilities out there, and just for sharing your story. It's such a gift. You're such a gift. I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
No, it's wonderful.
Thank you so much, Janet. And you know what? It's just one more thing. You know, your doctors had told you pretty much it was a death sentence, and that's not always true.
Right. He definitely stuck to his guns. It's a death sentence. It's a 8% survival rate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
it's the stage
they're
4.
proving them wrong.
Go, Janet!
They're proving them wrong. And, you know, your next blood test is coming up, and I have done a couple of healing sessions on you the last couple of weeks, and the energy has been moving tremendously well when I do these. So I will do another one today, tomorrow, and Monday for you, and let's just get that liver energy flushed out of all those toxins so that your number is a little bit lower this time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.